Welcome to Fire and Life Talk, transforming a world one heart at a time.
Hello and welcome to Fire and Life Talk. I am your host, Pastor Gary, and thank you for tuning in to this episode of Money Talks. We're going to have Joshua Goldsmith of Goldsmith Financial. That's right. The man himself is going to be right here in the studio with us, and this is a show that you do not want to miss. But before we get that, I want to encourage you to whatever platform you're watching on to share, like, comment, and if you're watching on YouTube, we have some new options in our chat. So be a part of the conversation and send in comments and definitely financial questions, money questions. But before we get to all that, I want to bring in my good thing, according to Proverbs 18 and 22. He that findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How is my favored husband?
I'm doing well. And, you know, we got an awesome show today. I want to get to Mr. Goldsmith, but I seen something on social media today. I didn't know how to feel. Not today, earlier this week. I didn't know how to feel about it. I seen this guy talking about how preachers introduce their wives. And he said, word for word, what I always say. And I'm trying to figure out if he was in one of them conferences, because he said, culturally, we don't say thing, we say thing. And I remember saying that. I remember making that distinction down in Florida last year at a conference. I want to know if he was in there. So if you out there or you knowing, you let him know, because we got to work this thing out. Because word for word. But anyway, it's all good. You know, I'm excited about the show today. Yeah, yes. We have Joshua Goldsmith on, and we're going to be talking about money, finances, riches, and wealth. And there is a difference. He's going to explain all of that. We're going to be talking about how to define and build wealth, retirement, leaving a legacy, all of that. Yes. And so we're looking forward to it. So I don't know about you, if you didn't have anything else.
Well, I found this scripture, in Proverbs 13 and 22. It says, A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. And it goes on with something else, but this is what we're talking about today. This verse keeps our goals in perspective so that we can choose how to use money and leave a legacy. So
yeah, that's good.
This is going to be a great show.
Now we got to open up with legacy as the first segment.
That's fine.
No, we're not. Let's quit playing around. Let's bring on Joshua Goldsmith from Goldsmith Financial. It's a private wealth management company founded to provide clients with comprehensive financial planning services and independent investment advice. Joshua says that we help clients navigate the path towards financial confidence, need that, by offering objective financial guidance, need that, meaningful information, need that, timely research. I tell you what, let's just bring him in.
Yes.
Joshua Goldsmith, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Great to be here. Gary, how are you?
Oh, we're doing great, man. It's glad that you made it to the show. I know you're a very busy man, and so we're thankful that you took time out of your schedule to come on and share to the world this wealth of information that you have about money, finances, riches, and wealth.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And by the way, have you ever heard of imposter syndrome?
No, what is that?
Is this my life? No. No, I truly love what I do, and every day I wake up, and what motivates me is popping out of bed, is I am aligned with my purpose.
Amen.
Yes.
And
Oh man, that's awesome.
That's
yeah,
great.
coming on your show, being able to talk to thousands of people all at once, I mean, that just kind of empowers me and energizes me even more, makes me more excited to share what I have and to be blessed to be able to be that guy that's able to offer that advice, Gary. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
we appreciate that. But you start off with something so powerful. It's walking in your purpose,
Yes.
yeah.
and for what you do in the financial institution, and we'll get to how you started and what motivates you and all of that here in a second. But if we can all, oh, you know what? I shared on the show last week what Mark Twain said. He had a saying: the two most important days of our lives is when we're born and when we find out our purpose of why we were born.
Yes.
So that's why that stuck out when you said, "Hey, walking in your purpose, man. That's awesome. That's awesome." And I know what you do can also help us and help our viewers fund the purpose that we walk in, or that we're called to walk in.
Well, everybody out there knows a little bit about that. They feel it when they're doing certain things. If they're not more aligned, or you're either less or more. But as you kind of go through your daily activities, the things that make you feel good don't have to be the things that are bad for you.
Right.
That's right.
So, I think that when you align the things that make you feel good to the things that are actually good for you and the world and other people and volunteering and things like that, then
Yes.
that's moving towards more walking in your purpose.
Yeah, and two, I think that I know that it makes us more complete, more whole as a person. A lot of times we don't want to share who we're made to be as far as gifts and sharing our purpose and bringing others along, encouraging them, empowering them, and equipping them to live a better life. Because I don't know, for a gamut of reasons, fear. We don't want to be bothered with people.
Well, it's also about money, because people are like, oh, I can't afford to feel a certain way. I can't afford to walk in my
That's
purpose. I
good.
can't afford to
Yeah.
even listen to a show like this because, I got a baby crying. I got, I'm a month and a half behind on the mortgage or the rent. I got pressing phone bills and I owe, maybe personal debt, credit card debt, and you can't afford not to.
That's
You
right.
know, you need to actually turn yourself a little bit, check yourself, look in the mirror, and ask yourself, what got you here? How did I get here?
That's
Right.
good.
Yeah.
So that's just
What you said about I can't do this, and you said you can't afford not to. I'm just being transparent here. I used to think that was just a sales pitch.
yeah. No, it can be. It can be. People have used that, right? They scout things out of different sales pitches and just to sell, some kind of multi-level marketing product or so you have nowadays, you have to be so guarded with your time, right? What is the number one resource we have? It's our time.
Right.
People say time is money, but time is way more valuable than money.
Sure is.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
So as we are spending that time, how are we going to spend it? In today's day with YouTube, and there's so many things to be able to watch. It's like, will you waste your time on something? It's an investment. So you're spending time to better yourselves. Innately, I think we're all looking for things that better ourselves, whether it be a fiction show on TV, some sort of drama that we're trying to learn how to act in our own relationships, or maybe, it could also be we want some distraction away from our life, right?
Right.
Some entertainment, but, bring it back down and around to, finding your purpose and being able to, walk that and spend your time learning how to do that is very valuable. So, how do we do that, Gary?
Right. Well, like you said, we're inundated with so much information throughout today. Unless you're literally hiding under a rock, we can do anything that we want in the world, or find out any type of information from that telephone that we have, or the cell phone that we have, and television and all that. But just knowing that aspect, and you mentioning that you're walking in your purpose, I'm sure that you have a lot of distractions. I'm sure you deal with a lot of different personalities.
Oh yeah.
Having your own personal life. But tell us, Josh, so with all that said, how did you get in finances, and how do you maintain that focus and motivation in what you do?
I was always fascinated by the stock market. And, when I was young, I went door to door finding out who wanted to, their leaves raked on their front yard. And I remember, taking the trash bag at 6 years old, I think I was, and, raking the whole yards because I was going to make some money. And I always overheard at different dinners with my family about how millionaires were so coveted, and how do this person's a millionaire, that person's a millionaire. I just thought, I want to be, it's like it's having money is not an accident. It's not some kind of lottery ticket. It's a choice that we make every day.
Okay.
So how I got my start is I really, I was fascinated by it, and it led me up to, start studying finance when I got older, and eventually starting my own practice. Was recruited into the industry back in 2006, and then in 2012 I started my own business, Goldsmith Financial. And ironically, I did it the same way. I went door to door, knocking on doors and meeting people to gain their trust, and to run a thriving, successful business for my clients.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that thing sparked in you at a young age, and just having that perspective to see a pile of leaves and see it as a means to get your pockets full.
Right.
To me, that would be like at my age, I had a love for aircraft, but I didn't see at a young age how to get my favorite bubble gum out of that. So I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, no matter where we're at in life, if we see something that propels us, and I heard someone say, if you stare at it long enough, you'll figure it out. I don't know. I'm just picturing a little kid looking at a pile of leaves and making a decision whether to dive in them.
I jumped in them. Don't get me wrong. I jumped in them. I messed them all up, and I was no, you got to clean them up. I remember, but it was amazing. The thing is that what you said is so powerful too. Is like, no matter where you're at, it's the decisions we make today, that determine the course of our life. So if we haven't been doing, I started at a young age, but if there are folks out there that haven't done it, or you're alive right now.
Right.
Life is going on right now. You can make the decision today, right now, to change the course of your life if you need to, or to change it in a way and direct it in the direction that it needs to be going, or possibly get some job coaching. But the next step to take to move in the direction to align yourself to where you want to be tomorrow.
Right.
Which is what we're going to talk about too, right? Retirement planning, estate planning.
And it's goals. We have to set goals, and short-term goals, medium, long-term goals. We're encouraged to do them, set goals in other aspects of our lives. But the finances, the money is to me right at the top. I mean, well, in a sense, we have to know how to handle it. So our mind and the way we think of money has to be in in a positive way, or healthy mindset. The way we handle it has to be healthy. So when I say we have to put that goal up there, as far as money, it's the planning.
Yes.
What money is, how do we use it, and how do we use it for ourselves and for others? And there's so many different ways we look at money. This scripture kept coming up here in the past few weeks. The love of money is the root of all evil. And the basic meaning of that is that you will do anything. You love money so much, you'll do anything to get it. You'll sell your soul, your body, you'll sell out your family members, your neighbors, whatever it is, criminal activity or whatever. So I interjected that because I want to say that when you set those goals, make sure they're legal goals.
Well, not only that, but it's also important to realize that they're not talking about money in and of itself. Money is not the root of all evil. And I've heard people say that, and it's just a tool,
Yes.
And so like any other tool that we have,
That's
you
good, Josh.
you can hurt yourself with it.
Right.
If you don't know how to use it.
Right.
And so part of my job is to coach other people, advise other people on how they can use that to maximize their goals, their dreams, where they want to go tomorrow, how they can help their family, how they can support themselves. Because as we get older, our earning capacity diminishes. Okay, it's something that a lot of us don't acknowledge, or but our faculties, we do lose our faculties the older we get.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like we start off as a baby, we end up as a baby if we get very, very old. That's how it seems, right? And that,
Right.
Excluding these centennials, right? We have these exceptions to the rules, to every rules, but we want to prepare to take care of ourselves. Number one, as we age, we want to have the proper insurance in place, the long-term care planning. Who's going to take care of us when we get older? How is our estate going to pass on? Are we going to let our relatives fight over everything? If you don't like your family, don't set anything up. If you don't like the people you love, just go on and don't make any changes. Don't plan. Because there's going to be, the more assets there are. I mean, I've seen families come apart when it gets ugly. When a loved one passes,
it potentially gets ugly. Yeah. But I tell you what, Josh, our demographics are the highest percentage is from I think 32 to 48. Then our next, as far as our viewers, and the next group is 24 to the bottom number, what I just said. But let's do this. One of my questions for you that I have for you is, we want to start as early as possible. Right. So for those parents that's out there, we'll get to the parents, but for the parents out there that has young children, what do you recommend, or do you have a type of program to introduce our children to money and that they can control it in a healthy way?
Great question. As far as an introduction to money goes, there is no class. My introduction to money was at least, but in the real world, interacting with people, I was selling bumper stickers to my classmates. Bruce Springsteen, Sticks.
You was an entrepreneur out of the womb, huh?
Yes.
We were selling them. Yes. So you got the best, to how to learn about money, how to learn about anything is to jump right in, right? Have your own experiences with it, which we all do. Yes. Unfortunately, there is no class for the School of Hard Knocks. There is no class for money, and there is no government endorsed class, or just where everybody could decide, yes, this is how everybody's going to view money because everybody looks at it from a different angle, from a different
That's
view.
true.
Some people look at it from a desperate point of view where I can't have it. There's never enough. And other people have it, which when you're talking more about, wealth and abundance, from a, hey, there's plenty of money for everybody, and it just comes with an understanding of, your being satisfied with what you have, and leading to wealth. In other words, the more content you are in the moment and with what you have, the better equipped you are to handle the next stressor that comes about, the next life event, and you're acting from a place of power, and you're able to generate not only a good solution for whatever that example would be, but maybe you have an upset client or somebody spilled again in the auditorium where you've got to clean it up, or somebody's mess, but you're able to maximize how you can learn from that situation to make yourself grow, to have yourself be a better person from it, because you're calm and you're poised, and you're able to, hey, if you want to relate, how does money come in? Money comes into every situation if you want it to, right? So it's an overthought and complex. It doesn't have to be that complex. That's my point. It can be very simple.
Yeah. Okay, I tell you what, Josh, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, let's talk about some strategies, some simple strategies in building wealth. And also want to interject the difference between being rich, and being wealthy.
Yes.
Great.
All right. Thanks for tuning in to Fire and Life Talk. We're here with Josh Goldsmith and my good thing, Pastor Gina. But we're going to take a break. Don't forget to come back, because we're getting ready to get into some deep things. I don't care where you're at in the world, you have to use money.
Welcome to Fire.
What's happening, y'all? I don't know if you've ever seen a walking tree. This is actually called a walking tree because these are the roots that come from up high, not down in the ground. They grow into the ground. They're both on both sides of the tree. And if the tree wants to move this way, the roots in the back die, and then it grows out more roots in the front. And the only way the tree can move forward is if the roots in the back die, and it grows more roots in the front, and then the tree moves in that direction. The only way you're going to be able to walk with God and move forward with God is if your roots behind you die. Your old relationships, your old connections, your old views of yourself, they have to die in order for you to move forward. And then you grow new roots in the direction that God wants you to go. The Bible says if anyone's in Christ, the old is gone and the new has come. So let go of these old roots, let go of these old ideas, these old relationships, these old perceptions, and start moving forward and reaching out forward to apprehend what Christ has apprehended for you, to become the person He created you to be.
back to Fire and Life Talk with an episode titled Money Talks. And we're here with Joshua Goldsmith of Goldsmith Financial. And our last segment, we kind of got introduced and embraced the ideas of money and how we're to use money. But in this segment, Josh, we're going to talk a little bit about the difference of riches and wealth, and also share with us some strategies on how to build wealth. So I know we see every day with our lottery system here in America. We're
going to start there, huh? Win the lottery. It's that simple.
That great uncle that dies, there's that instant transfer of riches, I should say. I'm sorry, that instant transfer of riches. Is there anything really, the terminology getting rich quick? How do you feel about that, Josh?
It's a fallacy. There is no such thing as getting rich quick, although everyone wants to, right?
Right.
It's like it's the idea of wealth very quickly, money very quickly, is everybody seeks tries to. Well, not everybody does, right? People that realize the reality. So one thing I wanted to bring up, Gary, is that wealth and being wealthy and being rich are two different things, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Wealth is more of a state of mind, state of being. You can build wealth with whatever money you have right now at this very moment by building your health, right? Focusing on yourself and making sure that you're, again, aligned and in tune with your own life and working on the relationships that you have. I think that is what wealth is. If the healthier you are, the more in tune with your life and how it relates to the world, that you're wealthy. You're getting ahead. Now, getting rich is just
hold on, Josh.
Yes.
Josh, I mean to interrupt you, but Gina and I, we were sitting in the waiting room yesterday. And they were playing the country music was the channel, going over the speakers, and I'm listening to the song, and I said, you know what, we got to talk about this on the show tomorrow. So you're talking about like wealth for someone's health is that wealth. And I embrace that. I understand that. That's me. For some people, it's a relationship. But here's just a couple lines of the song. It says, they say love is more precious than gold. Can't be bought and can't be sold. I got love enough to spare. That makes me a millionaire.
That's great.
So you're right. It's the perspective of the person. And please don't forget your thought where you were going. But each and every area of our life, we can build wealth in that area.
Yes.
I think I have to write that down, Josh. That's a good book.
Yeah. No, that can be. I'm sure
yes, it is.
Yeah, it's been written many times.
Wow. Yeah, you just took all the air out of my balloon.
Well, they say that every idea has been thought too. I mean, in a multiverse, but let's keep it grounded here on this show and see if we can, I was talking about the difference between wealth and being rich, right? So let me take a step back. Can you get rich quick? You can, right? Anybody can go and take half their life savings and go to the casino and put it on, red or black and get lucky and all of a sudden have double. And that's getting rich. You're rich, but you're not going to have the tools to be able to manage that money. It's like, they say that the lottery winners that get rich quick, they lose. I think it's like something like 80 or 90% of them.
It's very high percentage, yes.
Are back to where they were within 5 years, 3 to 5 years. And so it's about having the tools and the ability to handle the wealth. I think the universe sees, okay, can Gary handle this type of wealth? Can Gary, and it gives you, right? You've said, but I've heard, God doesn't give you more than what you can handle, and everyone, always is, think they can't make it, or they've got too much on their plate. that's not the case. You can handle it. And as the universe sees, I think that you can handle more, it gives you more. And so you've got to open up, you've got to show the universe that you are prepared to handle the type of wealth that you say you want. And if you're acting contrary to what you say you want, you ain't going to get it. So you've got to create that space in your life to have that wealth, to be. So you have to be the example of what you want already, right? And I'm not talking about some kind of esoteric, hey, I don't know how to do that because I didn't get there and I don't have it, and so how am I supposed to know that in the first place? I'm talking about looking yourself in the mirror, understanding who you are, and that is the answer that will bring you. Say, you know what, I like myself, but I don't like myself when I do this. And this isn't the right thing for me to be doing. So so when I first got into the business, someone gave me a really good piece of advice, and it turned out to not only be a piece of advice that was good for my business, but it was good for my life. So he says, everything that you do, act as if it's being published on the front page of the newspaper. Now, we can say the first page of Google or whatever you want to say now, because people aren't reading newspapers anymore. But you know what I'm saying is that if you act like everything you're doing, everybody knows about, then you're going to start acting the way that's right.
Yeah, we'll start presenting ourselves. Hopefully, we'll start presenting ourselves different. Right. Yeah, I tell you what, Josh, we got some questions coming up. Let's talk about some strategies. I know Lamont there says, help me to understand what or how much to save per year.
Yeah. Okay. Great question. It does depend on how much debt you have, number one. What the structure of that debt is. Is it credit card debt? Is it mortgage debt? Is it student loan debt? And it also matters, is it personal debt? How much you make. So number one, so it's a difficult question. You can't just give, handout. Financial advice just doesn't grow on trees like that, because it's specific to your situation. So that's that. I wish it was a more accurate, and hey, save 10%, 15%, but it really depends on where you're at with it.
Okay, I tell you what, let's back up a little bit. What are some of your strategies at Goldsmith Financial? And again, I understand, like you just said, each client, each individual client has their own tailored program, but just introduce us to some of your programs.
Okay, so as far as programs go for saving, I mean, as much as somebody would come in and say, they're interviewing me for me to be their advisor, I'm interviewing them to be my client.
Okay.
So yeah, I can't just take anybody. In the beginning of my career, it's like, I'll take anything that moves. But it's like as things developed, and I realized what I was doing on a more profound level. I realized, I can't help everybody. You want to help everybody, but you can't.
Okay.
And so you want to help only those that want to help themselves. And so I'm giving people the key to be able to help themselves. So I can give you, and I have the best investment programs that I believe are on the market today in terms of diversification, not putting all your eggs in one basket, et cetera. I can spread out the risk to the systematic risk and the unsystematic risk. I could diversify the heck out of you. And so when the market goes down, maybe we're on a ship instead of a canoe, and we're able to kind of weather the storm a little bit smoother as we get into our golden years. But you've got to have that heart of, the heart of an investor, the heart of saving. I can show you, hey, we're going to put $500 a month into this investment strategy that I've got. The average annual return is 10%. Okay, that means your money will double every 7 years. Okay,
right.
So if you get 10%, your money can, and it's not destroy it. You don't have to get 30, 40, 50, 80% a year to have it help you and be a leverage for you as you age and and we need to offset inflation. We just move forward with our investment plan and our idea of how we can save money. But you have to be able to trust yourself and trust a good advisor. So,
well, that was Lamont's next statement he made. Our problem is discipline.
Discipline. So you set
Yeah.
yourself up on an automatic program where it comes out every month on the same day, and there's your discipline. You find someone you can trust that knows how to invest the money for you, and it's coming. You believe in it. You've got to move forward. We have to. One of the problems is we don't trust each other. People, we've been brought up, not to trust anyone outside of our family walls, anyone outside that door. And even myself, I've been guilty of teaching my own daughter, hey, anyone on the other side of that door is not going to love you as much as me, is not going to care as much as me. And frankly, we can't really trust them as much as me, which is all true. Right? But
yeah,
how far, Gina, how far are we going to get if we don't start trusting?
That's right.
Beyond these walls, because
especially Josh, when it comes to money, we most of us, we hold on to it real tight because of the lack of trust, because we don't want to lose what little, if that's our perspective, what little we have, we don't want to lose it. But I just like to encourage people to take what little. And there's strategies, there's programs like Josh that you offer that can turn that little into a lot. You mentioned I think 10%, 7 to 10%. Hey, that is double, triple than what the banks are offering you in interest if you had let it sit in the savings. So if we would get over our fears maybe, or apprehensions of not even looking into these things. There's so much out there. And like one key thing, I almost forgot that you said that no matter what the situation of the economy, circumstances of the economy, no matter what it looks like, you can still make money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You can still build wealth. And I think that because we're so inundated with the news, this is so bad, the job market, Yeah. But if we invest our money right, and put our money in the right hands.
But then let me just comment on that statement. If we invest our money right. So now younger generations are saying, I need to invest it right. And so what is going to be the next Tesla? What is going to be the next Bitcoin when it was at 10 cents a coin? What is going to be the next this, that, or the other? It's like, you don't have to be that smart to be able to leverage the markets in your favor. You just have to be willing. You have to be open for the idea of somebody else helping you in that realm. And you don't have to get lucky. Okay.
Right.
Because guess what? The S&P 500 index has averaged almost 10% over the last 50 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or longer. And the thing is that okay, so what does that mean? Well, that means that if the average inflation is at 3% over the last 100 years, and we're investing to offset that inflation so that we don't keep cash. The reason we don't keep too much cash, is because it's not earning any interest, right? And so the value of $1 today is worth less than tomorrow. It's going to be worth a little bit less every single day, and over a course of time, it'll be worth half the amount. So the reason why you invest is because, hey, right now, if you put your risk-free dollar, if you want to take next to zero risk in the bank in a money market account, in which invests in government securities, which is supposed to be the safest on the planet. I don't care what you think about our government, but our government debt it offers a money market account, and it's paying 5% right now. Okay, so
Wow.
that's with no risk. Okay, so there's no risk. There's not been one default ever, and it's the only one of the only investments I'm legally allowed to say are safe. Okay, you can earn 5%. You earn 5%. They're paying 5%. Now they change on a daily basis. It could, next week or in a month, or they decide to lower rates. It could go down, but that is pretty valuable, And so I'm trained to know about these things and to follow the markets and be able to say what my job is for you is to mitigate risk. Make the most amount of money for you and take the least amount of risk, because I'm trying to make a living too, right? And so how do I, number one rule, don't blow up the client, right? So, I need you there too. I need you all there too.
That's right.
So, one of my clients said to me, he's like, if you help enough people reach their goals, Josh, well, eventually you're going to reach yours. And that's exactly what has been happening since I entered this industry and since I've been able to help people. And you know what? I love doing it. It's like, so I encourage people. That's why the advice that I'm giving is to, hey, align yourself with your purpose, because I found mine and it's working for me. That's the only reason I'm able to give advice. I'm humble about it. I'm not saying that this is the only way or this is the only path, but it's worked for me. So, can it work for you?
I think as I interview you, that will be one of my first questions. Hey, how long you been in this? Is it working for you? Or is this a front? That's just me. I kind of go there. But I do want to encourage our viewers to check out, go to the goldsmithfinancial.net. That's Josh's website. And it is a wealth, pun intended. There is a wealth of information there.
Yes, resources.
The resources, the newsletter, it's just great. As a matter of fact, we bookmarked it, for our own use, just the things that you have on there, and we'll definitely be contacting you. But this is so encouraging, Josh, and we can't cover all this in an hour show, but so I want to turn to some more questions. We just got a lot of questions coming in, and let's see, is a 401 really the best way?
Good questions. 401ks you're referring to as a employer-sponsored plan. That's what a 401k is. And if you're a participant in the plan, you're able to participate. You work for a company that has a 401k and you're not participating, I encourage you to investigate to see, number one, did they match? Does your employer match? So if you make, let's say, $100,000 a year, and your employer says, we're going to put up to 3% match. That means they're going to put up to $3,000 a year if you put in $3,000. If you put in $6,000 or $7,000, they're only going to put in $3,000. They're going to put up a 3% match. And that's generally what employers do. They'll put a percentage matched on there. If they don't put a match in there, you still can invest in a 401k. And what it does is before, so let's say you get paid, let's say $3,000 a week, just as an example, and you say, hey, I want to put $500 a week into my 401k. Well, now you're not taxed on that extra $500. It lowers your taxable end of the year.
Okay.
So now it's just like for the year end that you only made $2,500 in that week, and if you multiply that times 52 weeks in a year, that's going to be your new taxable income. The 401ks, again, are another tool for us to be able to, hey, is this the right thing? The best way, I don't know about the best. It's just one of the many feathers in our quiver that we have.
Okay. I know I've heard horror stories about the back end of those 401ks. If you get laid off or fired, or the company shuts down, and then or you have to pull that money out for certain reasons, and you get taxed, a large percentage. And again, I'm not the professional here. Can you give us some insight on, if you have to pull it out or use it at the time?
Yeah, sure, Gary. If you have to pull it out early, depends what you're using it for and where it is. So if it's still at your employer and you have like some emergency medical, you can pull it out penalty free depending on the circumstances, right? You got to work closely with your tax advisor on this one, but you'll still have to pay income taxes because you never paid income tax on the money going in, right? So since it lowered your taxable income when you put the money in, you have to pay taxes when you pull the money out. So that's one thing with the 401ks. The other thing is that the participant, the employee, is the one taking the risk when they put the money in the 401k. So even if an employer does go out of business, the risk is still being held at a third-party administrator, a third-party vendor that is holding the funds. So the employer shouldn't have access to that 401k. So I think what you were describing was a defined benefit plan. These are pension plans that have, we've heard about going, an employer goes under and all of a sudden there's no pension, all these people, work for so many years and they're, it just disappeared. So 401ks, participant takes the risk, and defined benefit plans, the employer takes the risk. So that's it in a nutshell.
Well, Josh, I want to put your phone number on there for our viewers. Well, we have they said thank you for that. There's another question. I'm gonna take a couple more questions, then we're gonna take a break. Okay. Kevin Scroggins wants to know, how do you get paid by your clients using your services?
Great question. I get paid by called a registered investment advisor. So the way that is that get about a percentage of my client's account. So if you have $100,000, for example, in an account, and I charge 1.5% a year, that's $1,500. It's just over $100 a month that I'd be getting paid on that account. Do I have motivation for it to become 150? Yes, because then I get a raise.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. And that's generally what you want as a potential client, looking for somebody that has that kind of fee structure, because it's pretty transparent. I've gotten away from the commission-based structures in my business so that I'm not, charging on transactions and things like that, because, that's more of a salesy position. And so that's how I get paid.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, Josh, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, I think one of the most important things that all of us really need to prepare for is the end of life and beyond that, family or whoever we leave behind. I think that's really important to talk about, and this hour is just flying by. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with more from Josh Goldsmith from Goldsmith Financial.
Have been in captivity. It's been years. Jerusalem's wall has been broken down and its gates have been burned. The condition of the city was a reflection of the condition of God's people. This is what Israel has lacked: faithfulness. Israel ultimately was supposed to be a light to the world, that was supposed to be an outpost of God's heavenly kingdom on earth. When you don't recognize the impact of your sin, you don't really have a sense of full repentance. But repentance means to change your mind and agree with God about what sin looks like, and embrace his way of what a new way of life looks like. Listen, when you're focused on God's intentions, when you're focused on God's values, and when you're focused on God's direction, no matter what the enemy throws your way, you're able to overcome it. The wall is really a tool that helps build the stability of Israel to be a light to the nations. And so now, because Jesus is the one who gives us the ability to shine his light, not through a building made with hands, but a building that's been transformed by the gospel of Jesus Christ and by the blood of Christ. I pray that we as believers, for us to represent him to the world as being the lights that God called us to be, a royal priesthood for his name.
Welcome back to Fine Life Talk with our guest, Josh Goldsmith of Goldsmith Finance. Josh, we are getting into some good things. We have some great questions from our viewers, and man, you're doing a great job. And I'm looking at the time, and I had so many more questions to pull on you with, but I know Lamont had another question concerning a young couple getting married. Let's see, what are you telling newly married couple on the future of their finances, and how should they approach this challenge?
Great question. Number one, if you're newly married, congratulations. That's fantastic. You're both going to be in great moods for a while, and it's going to have some honeymoon phase, right?
It's going to be like, let the games begin.
It's a different type of living, and but really, congratulations. Number one advice I'd say on that is have a lot of patience. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but the question, as far as the advice is work together. Number one, work together. You've got to work together and disclose everything to each other.
Yeah.
Because if you're on separate pages, and also combine accounts, don't wait to do that. Combine everything, because you've made a promise to somebody to share your bed, and you're not going to share your bank account.
Right.
Come on. Got to disclose it. You've got to be forthcoming.
John, say that again.
Well, you made a promise to share your bed, right? Then you're not going to share your bank account. Come on. She's got to know about everything. He's got to know about everything. How are you going to get to where you're going without with cutting that person you love out? You're not. Come up with it. Come up and offer it all up, because hey, you're both on the same page. You're both wanting to get where you want to get, which is retirement, right? Which brings us to the last. Now, I got to say something about retirement. Is that it's not some kind of thing that, if you're not saving for it, that you should feel bad about. Okay. And you probably didn't think I'd say that, right? Because it's the feeling that you have about it that you have to deal with in order to save money for as you get older. Call it something else. I wish I could just change the name. It's like of retirement, because it sounds such like an intangible. It sounds something that we're never going to get to, especially if you're in your 20s or 30s. Oh yeah, retirement. Okay, yeah, I'd rather burn out than fade away. That's the mentality that we have at that age, anyway. So how are we going to deal with saving for retirement? It sounds so boring. You're saving for yourself. You're saving for your life and how it's going to look when you get older, and you will get older. Because it beats the alternative. And the alternative is what? 6 feet under, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's the alternative. So every day you wake up, do I want to get a day older? Yes, I do. Okay. Because I don't want to go to that place yet. I want to get older. But how are you going to do? You're going to plan along the way. We're going to plan. Hey, if I make $500 today or $1,000 today, I'm going to save $100 or $200 of that for my life when I get older. for my life. You're saving it for you. And you got to work with somebody to protect that money and to invest that money along the way so that you have it and it grows. How early should you start planning? As early as possible.
Yes.
Start planning now, because life is long, and the older you get, the longer the projections of life become. And also, no, we didn't get to it a lot, Gary, and I hope I'm not hogging too much. I know we're getting to the end, but I want to mention it is that you have to look at insurance. Insurance is something, nobody wants unless you need it. And so it's kind of a, look, I've seen people pass away without insurance, life insurance, and I've seen them pass away with life insurance, and the money helps. And
yes,
so
definitely.
if you're the primary breadwinner for a family, I mean, this is life, okay?
Right.
God comes and takes us when he wants on his time.
It's promised.
And what's going to happen to that family is that there's the community may not help you out. If you have a mortgage and you have no earning potential because you have a 5 and a 2-year-old, and so if you're not if you're not looking into life insurance, there's a big hole in your financial plan. And the other thing that I wanted to get to is just want to mention is the legacy portion. Is like, okay, so as we get older, how are we going to be remembered? What are we doing now? Are you living the life that you want, that can be published on the front page of the New York Times or whatever publication that is your favorite? Imagine that all your actions in today are going to be published on the cover of that magazine. Are you proud of that? Will your daughter or your son be proud of that? Are your parents proud of that? Make them proud. That's how you align yourself with your purpose. Yeah. That's how you get wealthy. That's what I've got to say about that.
I mean, yeah, that's so important. I was going to share a personal story. We're getting ready to be grandparents, and my daughter, out of the blue, she texts me and she says, "Is my son in your will?" Where did that come from? But you know what, though? It was a conviction because of the scripture that Gina led out with, that we need to leave our children's children an inheritance. Yeah. So how do we do that? We get with Joshua Goldsmith and sit down and start planning for our right now, our future, and for our family's future. I tell you what, Josh, we got a couple of minutes left, literally. But I wanted to get to this question, another question from Kevin Scroggins. Can the average working person use or get some of the same tax reductions as the rich? In other words, how do I do a Donald Trump my taxes?
I think you just don't need to pay him then if you want to try and Donald Trump them. But the average man, as far as taxes go, I'm not a tax professional, but can you get you can get the tax deduction for putting money into your IRA, for example, if you make under a certain phase out limit. If you don't participate in a plan, you can get a tax deduction. So you've got to get with your financial professional tax guy to really answer that question efficiently. But yes, there are tax advantages that are available for the very wealthy, that are available right down to the ones making under $10,000 a year. So there are tax advantages all across the board, and we need to be taking advantage of them, because it doesn't say the script, it doesn't say we've got to, hey, let's wake up and pay the maximum possible taxes that we can. Right. Said nobody ever. Right.
So. And that's good, Joshua. Well, I'll tell you what, we're coming down to 30 seconds. We want to thank you for coming on to the show. Yes. Man, it goes by so fast. So we're going to have to come back and do some design segments just for what our listeners, our viewers were asking about. So again, we want to thank you. The website is on the screen. Give Josh a call, contact him. They'll set up a plan no matter where you're at. It will work it out. So Josh, again, thank you. We want to thank our viewers from around the world for tuning in to Fire and Life Talk. And we want to wish you a blessed and great weekend and all that stuff. And we'll see you soon.
Thank you for tuning in to Fire and Life Talk, where Jesus is Lord. If you would like more information, visit our